YouTube. Today we're going to be looking at my personal two carry pistols, and we're going to compare these two. I've somewhat compared these before, but we're going to cover a couple different subjects with this video today. But before we get started, I'm going to let you know neither one of these pistols have anything in them, and we are clear to make this video. YouTube does require that I always show that these are not loaded, and that's the reason I do it, folks. So what we have here is the two pistols that I choose to carry on an everyday carry basis. And I use these in two different scenarios. The first one we have here is the one that I carry pretty much every single day. And this is a Glock 30s chambered in 45 ACP. And this is not to be mistaken by the Glock SF here. And a lot of people get these two confused. This is actually called a 30s. If you look real close on the slide, you'll see 30s. And the difference in this one and a regular Glock 30 or Glock 30 SF or whatever you want to call them is this slide here. If you'll notice, it's got a lot thinner slide than a regular Glock 30 does. This is a slim down slide. This is very similar to the single stack Glock 36. It came out several years ago, and people were taking that thin slide and putting it on top of the double stacked frame, and this was born. Glock came out with it, and the rest is history. And this is what I choose to carry. This is the Glock 30s, thin slide, double stacked, 45 ACP. Now this does hold 10 rounds in the magazine and 1 in the chamber. So you're carrying around 10 rounds of 45 ACP. And what we're going to compare that to is this SIG P320. This is also chambered in 45 ACP. And this is the compact carry 45 in SIG Sauer. Now, there's just been so much controversy about this gun, and we're going to talk about it a little bit. I've done a couple videos on it here and there, but this one here, I'll show you some of the features of it. It's also got a double stacked magazine, and it holds 9 rounds of 45 ACP and 1 in the chamber, so you're essentially carrying around 10 rounds 45 ACP. Same story here. It's got a rail underneath it. It's got front serrations. The Glock doesn't have that. But night sights came on this one from the factory. But very good gun. So let's talk about these here for a second, folks, and why we're bringing this up today. So this SIG 320, I made a couple videos about the SIG 320 because I happen to like this platform. I think it's a fantastic platform. It's a real modular pistol where you can change these firing control groups out to different size pistols and all that. And oh my God, did I get freaking slack for this. People do not like this gun that like this gun. I don't understand why you can't like both, but I guess in today's world, you're not able to like two different things. That's just the way the world works today. People that like one product, they're not going to like the second product. And I guess it's against the law to like two things. But folks, I'm going to tell you something. There's a lot of rumors out there about this P320 and it not being a safe gun and people getting shot because the gun's going off, discharging accidentally. Just listen very close. If you look at this gun, this is the one with the thin trigger on it. This is not a problem anymore, folks. This gun came out in 2014, and there was some accidental discharges. But on this gun, you're essentially fully cocked all the time. The sear has tension on it, and this trigger releases the spring on the tension on the sear, and it causes it to fire. And I supposedly early on when these things came out, there was a problem with them. If you dropped them at a certain angle, I mean, it was really hard to duplicate it, and something about the inertia would make these things go off. It never had anything to do with holsters or anything like that. All these rumors that you hear around here, it was about the tension on the sear. And SIG Sauer, I'm not going to go too far into it, but they did address it 100%, and they made a different design here, and the way you can tell is the thinner trigger. The earlier ones had a little bit wider trigger on them. You can tell that's the one that's never been messed with. And They addressed the problem and it went away. Now, all these people that come up with all this stuff on the internet, folks, I mean, you got to take some of that with a grain of salt, just like you got to take everything. It's a safe gun. As a matter of fact, they did this in 2017, and that's the same year that the U.S. military decided that this was not an unsafe gun. So they took this design and they decided to make this United States military sidearm. They did it in 90 millimeter, of course. They have an external safety on them, the same as they require for every pistol. External safety has nothing to do with that little sear on the inside that everybody is afraid of. So the military is not afraid to carry this gun. And the citizens that have zero training out there and all they do is watch YouTube, they're afraid to carry this gun. And they are hooked on the almighty Glock. And they should be, because Glock is a good pistol. But the people that tend to lean towards these do not like anything else. They refuse to believe that there's anything that can keep up and be just as reliable and just as safe as a Glock. And that's simply not true, folks. There's more than one way to skin a cat. And there's more than one product out there, and people need to be open-minded when they look at different things. So I'm going to tell you why I carry these couple different guns and what scenarios I carry them. This one here happens to be my every single day carry. We're going to call this my EDC. And the reason I carry this is the width of this slide here just seems to be very comfortable with the way that I carry it. And the length of this grip, you can conceal very easily, and the capacity that this has. So this is an 11 round, when you count the one in the chamber, of the only caliber that I'm going to carry, we're not going to get into that either, is 45 ACP. So you're carrying around 11 rounds of 45 ACP and a gun that fits in the palm of your hands. It's super thin, super comfortable to carry, and all my fingers fit on this. Now, you don't have to have your pinky finger on it. I've been through this before, but all my fingers fit on this gun with 11 round capacity and a package this small, this thin, and it works out perfectly for me. I can draw this gun just like I can a full-size handgun because I can get my full hand on it. I can shoot this gun very accurately. I train with this gun, and I 100% trust my life with this gun. Greatest carry gun I think that's ever came out is this gun right here. I don't think there is a better one. You cannot beat Glock's reliability, the way they came up with the size of this thing, the performance this thing has, the amount of firepower that you put in this thing. I cannot think of a better carry gun. None of the Micro 9s, none of this new technology stuff has topped this gun. The new Gen 5 Glock 30 still is not better than this gun because of the size of this slide, folks. This is what makes this gun awesome, is the size of this gun and the amount of firepower it has, the caliber it is, and how it fits in my hand and how it shoots. It is just awesome. It has a little bit less felt recoil than a regular Glock 30 because it has a lot less moving mass here on top with this smaller slide. So, believe it or not, a lighter gun is going to have a little bit less recoil. Awesome gun. Now let's talk about this P320 here. I also carry this one around, and I carry this one when I'm riding my motorcycle. I like to ride motorcycles, and I carry this one in a shoulder holster underneath a vest. Now, it's a little less comfortable when riding a motorcycle to carry one in a side holster, like inside the waistband holster, while riding the motorcycle. At least for me it is. So I decided to carry my sidearm in a shoulder holster, and this works the best for me in a shoulder holster. I can draw this one. This one's got a little bit bigger grip. I can draw it better out of a shoulder holster than I can the Glock right here. And that's the only reason that I choose this one over the Glock on the motorcycle carry. Just the location that you're carrying it, this one just seems to work better. Now, when you're comparing these two side by side, there is no comparison in size. When you look at them side by side here, the Glock is definitely 100% a shorter grip. So it's going to be easier to conceal when you're carrying it, you know, like inside the waistband or something like that. It's not going to print as much. And when you take the fact that the Glock is that much shorter and it holds another round, I mean, it 100% wins in the concealability. If you look at them in thickness, the Glock's slide is going to be a little bit thinner. It's not going to be a lot thinner. It's going to be a little bit thinner. If you look at them, the length of the barrels and all that, they're very similar in size, but the Glock has the size on its side and it has the capacity on its side, which makes this one, in my opinion, a better everyday carry. Better, easier to conceal, I guess you should say, than the Sauer P320. Now, when you're talking about reliability, I think they're about equal in reliability. I haven't had any malfunctions with either one of these. I would trust either one of these with my life. Now, when you're talking about which one of them's safer, I think they're equally as safe, folks. After SIG addressed the problem in 2017, you don't have these problems. All these problems, you can't get anybody to duplicate this on camera. When they fixed it, it was done. But it's a very high-profile company, Sauer is. And of course, when you have a very high-profile company like that and you start having issues with them, it's going to really get widespread, especially on the days of the internet and YouTube and Instagram and all that, and things get blown out of proportion very easily. Rest assured, I've been in the firearms a long time. I would not tell anybody on my YouTube channel that this was safe if I didn't feel it was safe. But this is a safe gun, folks. It's a real good gun. It's just what I carry on a motorcycle, and everyday life, when I'm carrying inside the waistband holsters, I use this Glock because of the size of it, and it just seems to work out. Now let's talk about comfort when you're holding them in your hand. I'm used to this Glock now because I've carried it for so many years. I'm just used to the way it feels. But there is a grip. Glocks do have a very odd grip angle when compared to different other firearms in the same category. They do have a very odd feeling grip angle. I've gotten used to that because I've trained with this gun. I'm very familiar with this gun. Put a bunch of rounds through a Glock 30s, so I'm very used to it. But if you take somebody that's not as familiar with either one of them, they're going to naturally think that this one's more ergonomic, this P320. This has more of a 1911 feel when you hold it in your hand, and people that know about 1911s understand that the grip angle that's on a 1911 is just very comfortable. It feels very natural in your hand, and it's just by far a more comfortable gun to shoot in your hand. Doesn't make it a better gun, doesn't make that a better design. It's just, for me and the general consensus across people that pick firearms up, this is going to be more comfortable in your hand than a Glock. It feels more natural in your hand. Some of the features on this, on the Glock, or I'm sorry, on the SIG, it's going to have the front serrations. And this particular Glock, they only made it in Generation 3. This Glock 30s, it doesn't have the front serrations on it. The texturing, I believe, on this Glock is a little bit better. I guess it could be a little bit better on the newer generations, but it feels real good in my hand. This SIG felt just a little slick in my hand with the recoil of the 45 ACP, so I put one of these Talon grips on them. I really like these things. It's just a rubberized sticker that sticks on them, and they actually look like they came from the factory like this, and it gives it a little bit of extra grip. It's not very aggressive or anything like that. I really like it. Now, the breakdown on these guns is going to be about even on how to break them down. I'm not allowed to break them down on YouTube anymore and show you, but you have a little takedown lever here on the SIG, and you have these two little ones that you slide down on the Glock. They come apart. Now, the SIG's main claim to fame is these are very modular, so you can take this whole fire control group out and make this into a full-size gun or a compact gun or whatever size that you want to do. It's a really genius design. When it comes to the triggers, which one do I think is better? No doubt that the Sauer is going to have a better feeling trigger on it, folks. Glocks just, that's not what they're known for, is their triggers are a little bit spongy. This one's actually got a pretty good one for a Glock, but you can see how spongy it is. There's that much take up. It's pretty crisp when it goes off, and we'll look at the reset on it. Resets are usually pretty tactile on a Glock, but then you have a little bit of sponginess and before you hit the wall. Decent trigger, it's livable, but Glocks are not known to have the greatest triggers on them. I know there's going to be people that are going to give me a lot of slack and say the Glock is the end all with triggers. They're not. They're not. No striker fire gun is, folks. But when you get into the striker fire guns, the 6-hour seems to have a little bit better trigger on them. That's your amount of take-up that you have. It's not spongy. It's just a definite wall here, and it goes off. And the reset on it here is right there. No take-up whatsoever after that. It goes off. This, by far, has a better trigger than the almighty Glock. Does that make it a better gun? It does not. I just explained to you, on everyday carry, I choose this Glock just because of the size, the capacity, and the reliability. I just think this is the most perfect carry gun that anybody could own in any way. Now, one of the other things that we'll talk about is the caliber that I carry. I always carry 45 ACP. And folks, I understand this is a 9mm world and people love them. They love their 9mm. But I choose to use my brain and use a 45 ACP because of the ballistics and the performance and the amount of firepower that you have. I just don't think you can beat it. Now, it's another argument that starts all the time on why the 9mm is better than the 45 or vice versa. You have to choose what's best for you. But some of these arguments that people use about the 9mm being better because the military uses it and the police departments use it, that's the absolutely dumbest thing you can say. Because the same people that argue about the 9mm is great because the cops use them and the military use them will also tell you this is a bad gun, even though the military uses them and the cops use them. It just cracks me up. People are not educated. They just spew stuff out on the internet with no facts to back it up. I have facts why I use the 45 ACP. We'll do it in another video. I've done it in several other ones, but this is my weapon of choice. I carry a 45 ACP gun. I'm never going to carry a 9mm ever, unless I have to, unless it's the very last resort. You're never going to see me carrying a 9mm. It's always going to be a 45 ACP if that option is there. But I want to show you my two carry guns. This is my motorcycle shoulder holster carry gun because of the longer grip and the way it draws out of a shoulder holster. And this is my actual everyday carry that I carry in an inside the waistband holster. I think this is the greatest carry gun that's ever been made. They have not came out with one better yet. Glock 30s. Keep that in mind when you're looking at the Glock 30s and you get this confused when you listen to my video. It has to be a 30s with this really thin slide. And the barrels don't interchange with the regular Glock 30 because of this thin slide, but it has to say 30s right here on the slide. They only made them in Generation 3. They haven't came out with an updated version yet. If they do, I may take a look at them, but I like this one so much, I don't see any reason to ever get rid of it or replace it or anything. So, anyway, folks, let me know what you think about this little comparison between this SIG P320 chambered in 45 ACP versus this Glock 30s chambered in 45 ACP. These are my two personal carry guns. These are the ones I carry in two of the scenarios in my life, and these are the two that rely on my life. Think about everything I told you about the SIG P320, about the safety features on it, and whether you feel it's a safe gun. And think about this Glock here, this Glock 30s. A lot of people aren't familiar with this. You don't see these laying around a lot. You see just the regular compact Glock 30s. Take a look at one of these. If you're a 45 ACP person and you want a carry option, this is a great option to look at, the Glock 30s. Thank you very much for watching my video today, and you folks have a great day.